Hello everyone and welcome to Underwater Adventures with Alex Mirabal. As promised, today we will be talking about the largest Ming porcelain cargo ever found in a shipwreck. It's the Subang wreck in Indonesia, so let's dive into it. The information about the Subang wreck, it was brought to us by fishermen in Indonesia when we were working in the Gaspar Strait. It's a strait between the islands of Bangka and Belitung. We were working there, and as usual we were talking to fishermen, and some of them mentioned that they had come across a place in the Java Sea that they were eventually bringing up some porcelain in the nets. They were dragging nets on the seabed as a way of fishing, and sometimes in that place always they came up with some porcelain objects, and they showed me photos, and the porcelain objects were quite intact. They were quite complete, not broken. So I asked them if they could show me the place, and they say, well, we could show you the area, because the place exact point, we don't have it, but we can show you the area. You do your stuff and you find the wreck. So we went there, we stopped what we were doing in the Gaspar Strait, and we moved our ship 3 days away, because our ship is very slow on top of it, and we arrived in the middle of nowhere in the Java Sea, in the north of the island of Java, and in the south of the island of Sulawesi, I can't remember now, but you can't see land from anywhere. You are in the middle of the sea, and they say, well, yeah, it's somewhere here. So we decide to run the magnetometer and the side scan sonar, because in that place the side scan sonar is very useful, because this is a flat seabed made of sand and mud. It is not a reef, it is deep, it's about 54 meters deep, so it is not a place that will have too many outcrops or rocks or features on the seabed that you can get confused. So we run the magnetometer and the side scan sonar trying to locate any interesting shape on the seabed. And we were very lucky, because in the first day of, we were not that lucky. They show us more or less the right place, and during the first day or the afternoon, we with the side scan sonar, we located this huge mound on the seabed. The shape that you could see in the side scan sonar was huge. It's like a big hill in a seabed which is otherwise totally flat. So we marked that point, we prepared the dive, we knew it was deep, it was about 54 meters I mentioned, and the dives have to be very well planned, because you will have very little bottom time. Your bottles will not last long. We even have to prepare double bottles when we normally dive with only one bottle, because our shipwrecks are normally shallow. But in this case, to have more air and to have enough air for the decompression stop, we prepare double bottles for each diver. And we prepared the dive. There was a very strict plan, so you could be on the seabed only, I think it was 12 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes in the afternoon, so we made 2 dives a day, and then you have about more than an hour of decompression. So for 12 minutes that you were on the seabed, you will have to spend 1 hour and 20 minutes or so. The exact numbers I don't remember, but I remember that they were very long decompressions. Everyone was very bored, and it was incredible to have to spend so much time.
To the ignorant mind about this type of work, I would just think, yeah, it's a good work-life balance. 12 minutes of work, 1 hour of chilling, that sounds very, very chilled. But yeah, it sounds boring too.
I tell you that for us, for the divers, that is not exactly chilling. It's hanging on 6 meters, first 6 meters of depth, and then in 3 meters of depth for many minutes.
You get cold, no?
Of course. Yeah. Even in Indonesia, that the water is so warm,
yeah,
you get cold at the end, because you are also in the decompression. You are not like doing a lot of stuff. You are just hanging there waiting for this excess of nitrogen to go out of your body naturally in the breathing process.
Yeah.
So you can do anything. Just sit there, watch your computer, or you watch every 2 minutes and see that this thing is not moving. But okay, those dives were very strictly planned. It was a plan that must be followed by every diver just to be safe, to be able to dive safely in that depth. When we arrived to the seabed to check on this mound that we got in the side scan sonar, I couldn't believe, because normally you arrive to a wreck and you could see 1 or 2 pieces of ceramics, of porcelain or objects of the ship in the surface of the seabed. You can see 1 or 2, mostly broken, the first ones you see. But when we arrived there, that was an incredible sight of porcelain and porcelain. The seabed was covered with porcelain. This mound that we saw in the side scan sonar, and then we were able to measure it, it was 32 meters long and 8 meters high. So it was all porcelain, all pieces of bowls and plates and you name it. Whatever blue and white porcelain you have seen in your life was there. And in the beginning, the surface of this layer, there were plenty of broken pieces, and there was also a lot of ropes and remains of nets, because fishermen dragging nets over there have broken some of the pieces, but have also lost nets and ropes in the place. So it was quite messy. When we arrived, it was a little bit full of modern objects as well. But we started exploring the wreck, and when we went up of the first dive, I remember I was talking to my son, because my son, as usual, was in this expedition, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him, I don't know if I was a little bit under the narcosis of the dive because of the depth, because I saw an amount of porcelain that I never imagined. Probably I was a little bit drunk from the dive, this narcosis that you get when you go a little bit deep. But my son said, no, that it isn't the video. We should video of it. So unless the camera was in the narcosis influence as well.
The camera is not high then.
Yeah, exactly.
We're probably seeing correctly.
What you saw was what we have on tape, so it is there.
Yeah.
Then, as a part of the assessment we wanted to make on the site, we needed to prepare a system trying to guess or trying to calculate the potential number of artifacts, of pieces that would be on the site. We are in Indonesia in order to conduct the archaeological assessment of the wreck site known as the Wanli cargo. This wreck site has been found by fishermen about 1 year ago. Our intention is to go to the site and archaeologically assess which are the remains of the cargo and the ship itself by the means of sampling of 1 square meter in different sections of the wreck, in order to find the density of artifacts and also the rate between broken and intact pieces that still might remain on the wreck. As the site is reasonably deep, it's around 60 meters of depth, we have very little bottom time, meaning that our expert team, it has to be very accurate and efficient in the dives because of this restrained amount of time that they have to produce the results. We are also the way of doing photo and video coverage of the entire activity in order to have visual recording of the entire site and the composition of the wood structure in case that the wood structure remaining is coherent. So the only way we managed to plan to try to do it the most randomly possible and the most statistically correct possible, it was to create a frame with an iron frame of 1 square meter that we will place in the wreck randomly in a couple of 5, 6, 7 points, but you don't choose the point and say that here is nice, let's put it. You just put it randomly with closed eyes or something. So whatever this square meter frame was on the seabed, then you would collect the objects that were within the frame. It doesn't matter if there are many objects around, you will collect what is in this square meter and trying to collect them all.
Randomize sampling,
exactly,
I assume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we did that. As I suspected that there would be a lot of artifacts in 1 square meter, we prepared 2 plastic crates instead of 1. There was the original idea was, okay, we go down with 1 crate, we put the artifacts inside, we bring them up and we count them and we photograph them and we record them. But no, I said better we take 2 crates together because I suspect that they will maybe not be enough. And thanks God we did, because we end up filling up the crates in every square meter that we did that sampling. We ended up filling up both crates, sending the crate to the surface with a lifting back, okay, through a line that we have previously prepared, so it's a controlled ascent to the surface, then collect these crates full of artifacts, bring the artifact out, count them, catalog them, photograph them, and then put them back into the wreck. because at the time we only have the license to inspect the wreck and study the wreck and make an archaeological assessment of it. So we could do sampling, but we couldn't retrieve the artifacts and take them to land. So these artifacts all went back to the wreck. As a result of this exercise, we end up calculating that the site would have around 750,000 pieces of porcelain. As I have mentioned in other videos, the normal finding of a porcelain wreck, let's call it that way, ships that were transporting porcelain, it will be in the level of 12,000, 15,000, 30,000. Already a wreck with 50,000 pieces is a big amount of porcelain, and we were dealing with something that might have had 750,000 pieces of porcelain. You will see in some videos, and I will put also some photos of the beauty of this porcelain, the incredible amount of porcelain in the seabed, and the assessment of that wreck. I have mentioned also, I think it was in the 10 biggest treasures, the top 10 treasures I have worked with or work in. I also mentioned that this wreck was not excavated. So all these porcelain are still down there. I think it's still down there because that was in 2011, it was in 2011. So I don't know if anyone has actually excavated the wreck after that. So I wanted to tell you this story because for a person who is working in this every day and every year along 34 years, actually finding something which is the largest Ming porcelain cargo ever found is really rewarding, because we all want to remember a wreck or a project because of something particular. And in this case, it was the largest Ming porcelain cargo ever found. I have shared with you. I hope you like it. And if you have come this far into the video, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, and let's keep on diving.